If you're watching this video right now, chances are you just saw something online saying USCIS new update today, and instantly your heart dropped a little because when your immigration case is pending, even a small update feels like it can change your entire life. You start thinking, is my green card going to be delayed? Is my work permit renewal going to get stuck? Is my citizenship interview going to be pushed back? Are they becoming stricter? And is 2026 about to get harder for immigrants? So first take a breath because in today's video, I'm going to explain what this USCIS new update really means today. What has actually changed? What is a rumor? What is real? What is important for your case? And most importantly, what you should do right now so you don't get harmed by misinformation. And I'm going to do it calmly with facts, without fear and without fake hope. As always, this video is general information, not personal legal advice. Every case is different. And if you need advice for your exact situation, you should speak with a licensed U.S. immigration attorney. Now let's get into it. The first thing you need to understand is this. When people say USCIS new update today, most of the time, they are not talking about one single new law. USCIS does not work like that. Congress does not pass a new immigration law every day. USCIS updates usually happen in a different way. They happen through internal policy shifts, processing priorities, operational changes, officer training, security check expansions, and new documentation expectations. And in 2026, USCIS is doing exactly that. The system is not collapsing, approvals are not stopped, and green cards are still being issued every single day. But the way USCIS is handling cases is changing, and that is what people are feeling. Now, let's talk about what is actually happening behind the scenes today in 2026. USCIS is under pressure from two sides at the same time. On one side, USCIS wants to reduce backlogs because the agency has been criticized for slow processing. On the other side, USCIS is increasing fraud detection and security checks, which naturally makes some cases slower. And this is why people are confused because in 2026, you can see two completely different experiences happening at the same time. One person gets approved fast, another person with a similar form gets stuck for months, and both cases can still be normal. That's because USCIS is not consistent across all offices. Your processing time depends on the category, the service center, the field office, staffing, workload, and even which officer gets your file. So if you see someone online saying USCIS is approving faster now, it might be true for their case type, but it might not apply to you. And if you see someone saying USCIS is delaying everything on purpose, that might be true for their personal timeline, but it does not mean USCIS has secretly stopped approvals. Now, one of the biggest real updates in 2026 is this. USCIS is acting more like a priority-based system, and this is extremely important. USCIS does not always process cases in a perfect first in and first out order. Sometimes USCIS shifts resources to specific categories because of policy goals, backlog reduction targets, or operational needs. For example, USCIS may push certain categories, certain employment-based green cards, certain humanitarian cases, or certain programs that impact the economy. And when USCIS pushes one category, other categories slow down. That does not mean your case is denied. It simply means your category is not being pushed at that moment. That is why in 2026, the system feels random, but it's not random. It's prioritized. Now, let's talk about another major update that is making people go crazy online, and that is interview scheduling and interview waivers. You might have heard that USCIS is waiving interviews more in 2026, and yes, this is happening in many cases. But let me be very clear. Interviews are not canceled for everyone. There is no law that ended green card interviews. USCIS has always had the authority to waive interviews in certain categories when the case is strong, complete, and low risk. What's different in 2026 is that USCIS is using this power more strategically to reduce backlog. But here's what people misunderstand. An interview waiver does not mean USCIS is being lenient. It does not mean they are approving people casually. Simply means USCIS believes the file is clear enough to decide without meeting you. And in 2026, USCIS is relying more on digital checks than ever before. They are matching your case against fingerprints, biometrics, criminal databases, travel records, immigration entry and exit history, prior visa applications, and prior USCIS filings. So even if you don't get an interview, USCIS is still reviewing you. They are just reviewing you differently. Now, which cases are more likely to get interview waivers in 2026? The first group is employment-based green cards. EB1, EB2, EB3, and other work-based adjustments are often more structured and easier to review on paper. If you have a long, clean history on H-1B, L-1, 01, or similar visas and your file is consistent, USCIS may waive the interview. The second group is some family-based cases that are extremely strong, and yes, that includes some marriage-based green cards. But marriage-based cases are still the category where interviews are most common because marriage fraud is a major concern for USCIS. So if your case is marriage-based, you should never assume you will be waived. You should prepare as if you will be interviewed, but hope you are waived. That is the safest mindset in 2026. Now let's talk about the update that is quietly hurting people the most in 2026. RF request for evidence in 2026. USCIS is issuing more RF than many applicants expected. And this is one of the biggest reasons people feel USCIS is stricter. But the truth is, USCIS is trying to approve cases faster, but only when the file is complete. When the file is incomplete, USCIS sends an RF instead of guessing. And an RF almost always adds months to your timeline because after you respond, your case goes back into a queue. And this is why people feel like their case is stuck forever. Now, the most common reason people get an RF is not fraud, it's missing evidence. In marriage-based cases, USCIS wants stronger proof of a real relationship, not just photos. They want joint bank statements, a joint lease or mortgage, shared insurance, shared bills, shared taxes, shared children, shared travel, and consistent address history. In employment cases, USCIS may ask for clearer proof of job duties, qualifications, salary, and employer documentation. In citizenship cases, USCIS may ask for tax history, selective service proof, or travel history clarification. And here's the important point. In 2026, if you respond to an RF with weak evidence, your case can get delayed even more, scheduled for an interview, or even denied. So RFS are a turning point. They are not something to take lightly. Now, let's talk about delays, because yes, delays are still real in 2026. And I want you to hear this clearly. If your case is delayed, it does not automatically mean you are in trouble. It does not automatically mean you will be denied. USCIS delays in 2026 are happening for multiple reasons. Backlog is still a major one. USCIS is still dealing with heavy volume from previous years, and even small slowdowns create huge wait times when millions of cases are system. Another reason is staffing and training. USCIS has hired more people in some offices, but training officers takes time, and during training productivity actually slow down because senior officers must supervise. Another reason is security checks. Many cases get stuck in background checks, and those checks are not visible to you. Your online status might just say, case is being actively reviewed for months. Sometimes it is just a name match or a manual review in one database. This is also why two people with the same form can have completely different timelines. One clears checks quickly, another gets stuck longer. It does not automatically mean the second person did something wrong. Now, one of the biggest fears in 2026 is a work authorization, because many people are not even scared of the green card timeline. They are scared of losing their job. In 2026, EAD processing is inconsistent. Some categories are faster, some are slower, and the biggest problem is uncertainty. You don't know if your card will arrive before your job deadline. That is why the most important advice until today, 26, is to renew early. Do not wait until the last month. USCIS delays can create gaps, and a work authorization gap destroy your income, your stability, and your family's security. And the same is true for travel. If you are adjusting status, do not travel without advance parole because traveling without advance parole can abandon your I-485. And in 2026, travel rules are not something to play with. Do not take risky trips based on rumors. Always follow the correct rules for your case type. Now let's talk about citizenship in 2026. Because naturalization is also affected by the same system changes, naturalization timelines depend heavily on your local field office. Some offices are moving faster, others are slower, and citizenship cases can get delayed due to background checks, interview scheduling, and oath ceremony availability. If you are applying for citizenship, your tax history matters, your travel history matters, and your good moral character matters. So in 2026, the best strategy is to stay clean, stay consistent, and avoid unnecessary complications. Now, people ask a very important question. Is USCIS stricter in 2026? The honest answer is USCIS is not simply strict. USCIS is selective. They are approving clean low-risk cases faster, and they are focusing more time on cases that show red flags. So if your case is complete and consistent, you may feel USCIS is improving. If your case is complicated, incomplete, or inconsistent, you may feel USCIS is becoming stricter. This is why the biggest update in 2026 is not a new law. It's a new workflow. USCIS is trying to move cases faster while increasing screening, and that creates two experiences at the same time. Faster approvals for some and more delays for others. Now, the most important part of this video is what you should do right now because updates are interesting, but your case is what matters. The first thing you should do is make sure your file is strong and complete. If you are filing a new application in 2026, do not rush. A rushed application leads to missing evidence. Missing evidence leads to RFS. RFS lead to delays, and delays create stress. So file smart, not fast. The second thing you should do is stay consistent. Your forms must match your evidence. Small contradictions can trigger interviews or delays. For example, your address history must match your tax records. Your marriage timeline must match your travel history. Your work history must match your visa filings. Your previous USCIS forms must match your new forms. Consistency is one of the strongest protections you can have in 2026. The third thing you should do is keep your address updated with USCIS. Many cases get delayed simply because USCIS mailed something to an old address. If you miss a notice, you can miss biometrics, miss an interview, miss an RF, and your case can be denied. So always update your address immediately if you move. The fourth thing you should do is take every USCIS notice seriously. If you get an RF, respond quickly and correctly. If you are not sure, consult an attorney. If you get an interview notice, prepare properly. But it is not a secret law. It is not a hidden policy. It is a system under pressure. Now, when should you worry in 2026? A delay alone is not a denial. But you should take the situation more seriously if you receive a notice of intent to deny, a notice to appear, or a serious allegation. You should also take action if your case is outside normal processing time. In that situation, you can submit a service request, contact your congressperson, request an expedite if you qualify, or consult an attorney. Many people do not realize this, but a congressional inquiry can sometimes trigger movement on a stuck case. It does not guarantee approval, but it can force USCIS to respond. Now, I want to speak directly to you if you are feeling exhausted because I know this process is not just paperwork. It's your life, it's your marriage, it's your job, it's your future, and waiting without answers can feel cruel. So let me say this clearly. If your case is legitimate and you are following the law, you still have a path forward, even if it's slow, even if it's stressful, even if it feels unfair. And the best thing you can do is stay calm, stay organized, and stay informed. Now, let's end with a simple summary of the real USCIS update today. In 2026, USCIS is using more interview waivers for low risk cases. USCIS is issuing more RF for incomplete files. USCIS is relying more on digital data matching and security checks. USCIS processing is inconsistent across offices, and USCIS is prioritizing certain categories at different times of the year. That is the real update. Not one new law, not one secret policy, but a system that is changing its workflow. So if you are waiting for a green card, a work permit, or citizenship in 2026, the best thing you can do is keep your file strong, stay consistent, renew early, avoid risky travel, and do not trust rumors. And if you want more updates like this, make sure you subscribe to US Immigration Hub because my goal is simple: to cut through viral misinformation, explain what is real, and help immigrant families stay wise, stay calm, and protected. And now I want to hear from you in the comments. Which USCIS case do you have pending in 2026? Is it a green card, I-1 or 30, I-485, EAD, advanced parole, or citizenship? I read your comments, and I make videos based on what you need next. Thank you for watching. Stay calm, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next update.